Hi, I'd like to make this short video to just explain something that's causing a little bit of confusion with regard to using Google Drive. And it's probably easy to understand why it's a little confusing. So I'd like to clarify it once and for all. So I have two windows open here. One, let's say this belongs to the teacher, and this second one here, let's say this belongs to the student. So if you take a file, okay, now first of all, let's differentiate between a file and a folder. So a file, you know what that is, and in this case I'm talking about Google Documents, so sheets, docs, or slides. And you can also have folders, and inside a folder you can have files. So I think we all understand that distinction. So you can take a document and you can share it with individual people. So I'm going to share this document with this person called D student. Okay, so with demo student, and I'll allow demo student to be an editor, and I'll click send. And so what that's just done is it's shared this file called sample file with this user sitting here in the background. So let's switch over to the sample user. Now, where I would find that is in this collection called shared with me. So if I go into shared with me, and here's the sample file that I just shared with the student. Now, once a file is shared with somebody, what they can do is they can add it to their My Drive. So right now, this file is not something that is part of their collection, their organized collection of files and folders. If they'd like it to be, they need to click this little button up here that says Add to My Drive, or they could just right-click it and say Add to My Drive. Both will work the same way. So I'm going to add that to my drive. And when you do that, you can put it somewhere. Now, I can put it right at the base of my drive, or I can put it in a particular folder. Let's put it in important files, for example. And I'll say move. And so I've now moved that. If I go back to my drive and I look in important files, there is the file I've just shared. Now, the beauty of this system is this is the same file we're looking at. Both people have access to the same file. It's not two copies of the same file. It's actually the same file. And the beauty is that each user can file it in their own particular way. So if this student decided to put it in another folder, so let's just do that. Let's go to a new folder and we'll call this new, and we'll go create. So there's new folder. If I take this and move it and drop it into that new folder, it's now in a completely different location. None of those changes about where that file lives affects the original owner of that file. The original owner will see it wherever they filed it, and the second participant, the collaborator, will be able to put it anywhere they like and file it wherever they like. Neither of those changes will affect the other. Okay, first thing to understand. The second thing is you can do the same thing with folders. So I can take this folder and I can share that folder with D student, demo student, there you go, and I'll let the demo student be an editor in this case, so I'll say send, and that's been shared. If I go back over to the student view and I look in shared with me, and I might need to just refresh this just to speed it up. So I'll just refresh that page. There you go. So there is the folder called work files that was shared from the teacher. And again, if I want to claim that into my collection, I'd need to select it and either click this button up here that says add to my drive, or right click it and say add to my drive. Both do the same thing. So let's do it the other way this time. And I've now added it to my drive, and you can even see let's just put it in the base of my drive. Okay, you can even see now that it will tell me if I go to my drive, here is the work files folder. Now I can file that, I can move that around as well. I can take this and I can drop it into the important files folder there like that. I can go into there and I can take it and drop that into the new folder. I can move that folder full of stuff around anywhere I like, and it won't affect the other person's view of it. So we have our own filing systems of the same material. It's pretty clever the way that works. Now here is the catch. If I, as the user, decide to, as the person who's having it shared with them, not the owner of the file, if I go in and take something here, so if I take this, go in here and say take one of these objects here, let's just open this up. So let's say I want to take this thing called my essay and I want to drop it into this folder called science. If I take that and drop it down there in science, I get a warning that tells me if I'm moving this out of the shared folder, other users will no longer be able to see this file. In other words, if I move it out of the folder that was shared with me, it would no longer be visible to the other users. Let's just do it and make sure that works. I've removed the document. If I come back to the teacher view now and look in work files, Just give it a second to catch up. I'll just refresh the page to speed that up. You'll notice that the essay is now gone. And the reason it's gone is because the user I shared it with moved it out of the folder. So the rule is this: you can share a file with somebody. They can put it anywhere they like. It won't affect you. You can share a folder with somebody and they can move it anywhere they like and it won't affect you. But if they take a file out of a shared folder, it will remove the file from the folder. And when you think about it, that's actually not strange behavior at all. If on the Windows file server, for example, if someone was to take a file out of a folder, it would no longer be in the folder. And this is the same here. So there's no difference. It's just because, I guess because there are some situations where you can move stuff around that it may confuse you a little bit when there's this one instance where you can't. So just remember the rule. If it's in a shared folder, don't move files out of the shared folder. You can take an entire copy of the folder if you like. That's fine. It won't affect anyone else's view of it. But if you move something from within the folder, it will break everybody else's view of that object. Hope that makes sense.
This is a quick run through on how to transfer ownership of a Google Doc to another user. And just keep in mind what I'm about to show you will only work in a Google Apps for Education school if you're sharing with someone in the same domain. Otherwise, in a free Gmail account, you should be able to do this with just about anybody. This document has already been shared with a couple of other people, and I want to transfer ownership to one of those people. So all I have to do inside Drive is right-click on that document and click Share. This opens the sharing settings, and from here I can click on the Advanced button, and here I can see that I've shared this with Crystal. So if I want to give ownership of this document to her, I just go to the Can Edit menu and click the drop down, choose Is Owner, and Save Changes. It asks me if I'm sure that I want to transfer ownership to this person. I say yes, and now I can see that she is now the owner, but I still have rights to edit this document as if it had been shared with me. When I go back to Drive after clicking Done, I can see now that the owner has changed from me to the new owner, and that's how you do it. It's as simple as that.
And this video is about right-clicking on a form to make a copy for yourself. So I've shared these two forms, and the folder is open right now. And the way you make your own copy so that you can use either of these two Google Forms as a template is to right-click and then click Make a Copy. And then you can see all the behind the scenes, the data validation, all that good stuff. If I just double-click on the form, then I can see it like a typical form and respond to it, but I certainly can't. I can't make a copy, and I'm just going to request edit access, and we make a copy, and then you have a copy for yourself.
In this video, we're going to talk about a Google service called Google Takeout. Now, the purpose of this service is so that anyone that has data with Google Drive or in their Gmail that they would like to take with them when possibly leaving school to go to college, or maybe leaving their job and going off to a new job, they can take that data using Google Takeout, download it, and then upload it into a new Gmail account or Google Drive account. So in this situation for graduating seniors, we're going to talk to you about downloading that data so that after you graduate from high school and you leave Sand Springs, you can take your data with you to college. Any portfolio of work that you've developed over the past year or two using Google Drive, you can take with you. So the first thing that you'll want to do is make sure that you're logged into your Google account for Sand Springs, and you're going to go to takeout.google.com/settings/takeout. Now you can always just go to Google search and search for Google Takeout, and it'll take you to the same place. Once you get there, you're going to see a screen like this one. Now in this situation, there are lots of different things that are associated with your Google account. What you're going to do is you're going to check the things that you'd like to download in your archive of files. Keep in mind that the number of items that you check in this list is going to increase or affect download time or the size of your file. In most cases, you're probably just going to want to take your Drive information, we'll check that one, and any information in your Gmail account that you might have gotten from college recruiters or admissions counselors as you've been applying to college. So I'm just going to check those two options, and then I'm going to scroll down and hit Next. So in this screen, they're going to ask you two different things. One is file type, and you'll want to leave it as a zip file because that's the most common file format for an archive of compressed files. We'll leave that. The other is delivery method. Now I can have this download link sent to me via email, but what I want to do is I want to add this to my drive so that after they've created it, it will add the archive to my drive, and I'll also get an email telling me where its location is. So once I'm done, I click Create Archive, and it's preparing my file. So what it's going to do when it's finished is it will, one, send me an email with a link where I can go directly to that archive, and two, it's going to appear in my Google Drive account. So actually what I'm going to do is first hop over to my Gmail account and see if that email has come in. And in my inbox here, you'll see that I've got an email saying my data archive is ready. So if I open that email, then I can click View in Drive, or I can download this file here. I'm going to go ahead and view this in Drive. And you can see here's my takeout file. This is a zipped item, so it won't actually open it in Google Drive. So we will eventually want to download this, but we're going to dissect this and kind of take it apart and see what it looks like. Here's our takeout folder, and you see we have a couple of different folders here. One is our drive files. Now, any drive files that I had will download as Word documents or Excel documents, depending on what they were. So when we upload this to a new Google Drive account, we're going to want to have those files converted over to a Google Docs format so that they can be used in the future. So this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and download this file, and let's look at what it looks like to upload this into a new Google Drive account. So from my email, I'm going to click on the download option, and it's downloading my file. And so I'm going to go to a new Google account and upload these files. So I'm in a new screen now, and I'm going to log in to my new account that I've created. So I'll click sign in, and I'm going to take a second to do that. So I'm logged in now, and before I can actually put these files into my Drive account, what I need to do is decompress that zip file. So I'm going to go to my desktop. Here's my zip file. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click Extract All, and I'm going to tell it where I want to put this. So I'm going to browse for a location, and I'm going to put a new folder on my desktop and call it Google Drive, and hit OK. And then I'm going to tell it to extract these files, and so it has done it. It's already finished. Here's my takeout folder, and then here are my drive files. And so now what I want to do is I want to upload this archive of files into my Drive account. But like I said, when it downloads and puts that archive of documents into the zip folder, it converts them all to Word and Excel and PowerPoint formats depending on what your original source file was in Google Drive. And so what we want to do is make sure that our new account in Google Drive is set up so that as we upload, those files will be converted to a Google Docs format so that we can edit them. So I'm going to go into my settings as I've done here, click on the convert option, and click done. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop those files from this folder into my new Drive account, and it's going to convert them as it does so. So here we go, we're uploading, and it may take a little while depending on how many files you have. This was from just a small sample account that we use, so it doesn't take that long to do it here. Depending on how many files you've created over the past year in your classes, it may take a little longer, so you'll want to give yourself plenty of time, or just walk away and let it do its job and come back later and check on it. You can see here it didn't take that long, and so here are my files and my folders, and I can see everything that's there, and I've got all my file folders and my documents in my new account.